Hi, I'm Sarah Pulaski, and this is my video 2 for GHS 204 over chapter 10 of this book, the NAFTA article, and the videos that we watched. So one of my first takeaways was mainly pertaining to chapter 10 and the conclusion of this book, and this was just like the differences of soft global citizenship versus critical global citizenship. This is one of the things that I learned about in my international politics class last semester, and I really feel like this applies in this situation. So obviously in Latin America, we're seeing these massive inequalities, these social inequalities, economic inequalities, and so like I feel like it's really important to view this from like a critical lens and actually understand the systemic factors in the situation and like use this understanding to actually work towards a solution rather than maintaining the conditions that allow for these injustices to continue. Um, so solving problems in Latin America like poverty, gang violence, and like lack of opportunities for economic growth, it can't be solved just with like humanitarian intervention, which would be like a soft global citizenship lens. And so I feel like this was really reflected in the book when it was talking about how people in Western countries would adopt children from Latin America to try to like save them and like better the situation in Latin America. But this actually just created even more like problems in Latin America, and it became a huge issue with like children being sold and stuff. And so I feel like that's a really like good connection with like how soft global citizenship can actually make things worse, if not just maintaining the systems that cause this bad situation to begin with. Um, and so I feel like understanding like this like long history of exploitation that we've seen in Latin America and how this exploitation still exists today in so many forms. I think this is really important to actually working towards solutions to the problems that we're seeing. And so like comparing like the exploitation like with like original like European intervention in Latin America to today, it does like look a little different, but it's still supported by like the governments of these Latin American countries who are seeking to profit from like these big businesses. It's from governments of other countries who are looking to profit off of Latin America by exploiting those countries, and we see it with the large corporations who are profiting off of the exploitation of like the workers in Latin America. And so I think by understanding all the facets to the exploitation that we see in Latin America, we can actually work towards a better solution. So that was one of my biggest takeaways from this. Another thing that I was really thinking about was like humanizing immigration as like a political topic. And so like the novel obviously talked a lot about like immigration and how immigration from Latin America has like all these like rises and falls based on like the situations within the countries themselves, and how the United States has reacted to that and mishandled it, honestly, which we still see today to an incredible degree, which is absolutely disgusting. And so I feel like it's really easy to just be like, I want my country to like look like this, and like I don't think that having these people here is gonna like do us any good or whatever, but like understanding that like no one would like leave their home country and go through all of that pain and trouble and suffering and anguish and leaving their families, just no one does that for fun, you know? And so I feel like um just like putting the humanity back into these topics, and just like understanding like this topic on an individual level, I feel like it could do the situation a bit of good. I've, obviously, this is like one of those hot topics in America where it's like it comes up like every election cycle, and it feels like it's never changing. And so I don't know. It's always something that I've felt really strongly about, but I never quite know how to put it into words because it's just such a big, deep issue. Um, and then one of the huge takeaways I had from the video, I'm gonna pronounce this so horribly, the Maculopolis video. I was really thinking about how like structural disadvantages and things like education continuously affect like generations of people from Latin America, and it like allows for this exploitation to continue to happen over and over again. And so I really liked in the video how we kind of saw these women breaking the cycle by becoming educated on like their rights as women and as people, and about like labor laws, and using that knowledge to like both educate the other people in the factories and to better their situations and hopefully better their future. And so I feel like that was a little inspiring, but still at the same time, they made a really good point of being like, this is just like one small victory, and there's still like hundreds of companies that are getting away with just all these horrible things. And like, I don't know, it's like a mixed bag, obviously. It's a horrible situation. And then, yeah, I was just really shocked by the conditions of the factories that they were talking about. Especially, I was so I literally paused the video when the one woman was like, "Oh, I really like my job. Like, I like the environment. I like the people. There really isn't anything wrong with it, except for the fact that there's like lead, and I'm getting exposed to lead every day, and I can't be around my children because I have lead on me." And like, and just how she like mentioned it almost so casually, and I just was really shocked with how like normal like that's forced to be in that region, because like I cannot imagine a scenario in my life where I'm like, yeah, lead poisoning's kind of like the least bad thing that could be happening to me right now. Like that is so insane to me. And so like understanding my privileges as someone who lives in the United States, who is white, who is middle class and has a job where I go to an office and I'm not exposed to lead. The worst I'm exposed to is like germs, I guess, from other people. Just that juxtaposition between my life and the life of these women was just really, I had to take a moment to really just let that sink in, honestly. And so just understanding how privileged in the US we are, even though a lot of the time, like our safety regulations and like labor unions and stuff, they don't always do their full job. We see shortcomings and failures within these systems, but it could be so much worse, and the people in these Latin American countries just deserve so much better. So those were my main takeaways from the book and from the videos. I've really found this topic to be very fascinating, and I feel very lucky to learn about this and to have a better understanding on this. So thank you.